Now that we've talked about the beginning of World War II and the rise of leaders in Europe, we want to focus our attention to the United States and whether or not they should stay neutral in this war. The United States is currently practicing an idea of isolationism during the 1920s and 1930s. Oftentimes, there were conferences amongst congressmen and the president to either reduce armaments or the military and to keep peace where there were not. The United States at this point has two options: the more energetic attempts at stabilizing the world, also known as getting involved in the war, or keeping themselves isolated from Europe. The Americans will choose option number 2, and the U.S. will design safeguards to becoming dragged into another war. The result was the Neutrality Acts of 1935. The goal of the Neutrality Acts is to protect the U.S. from events which pressured the war and had the United States enter World War I. There are a few requirements of this act. The first, the United States cannot sell weapons to aggressor and or victims in Europe. The second requirement, the President has the power to warn American citizens that traveling of ships of nation at their own risk. This means that if an American cruise ship is shot down by a German U-boat, there is a different repercussion than if they are on a cruise ship for Great Britain or France and traveling to Europe. Those nations are at war with Germany. It would make more political sense for them to be shot down as opposed to a United States ship. The Neutrality Acts of 1939 builds upon the Acts of 1935. They prohibit people from transporting any passengers or articles to belligerents or enemies. The United States are forbidden from traveling to belligerent nations, and we practice a cash and carry policy. This means that people in a fighting nation could purchase non-military goods from the United States, but had to pay cash and carry the goods away on their own vessels. World War II begins by Germany invading Poland. Great Britain will declare war on Germany. This is called a phoning war because there is actually no fighting between the Allies and the Axis powers in the winter to spring of 1939 to 1940. Germany will invade Denmark, Norway, Belgium, and France in addition to invading Poland. This is a threat to Great Britain in which they react and begin to fight in a war against Germany. The United States will become more involved as we have many economic and political ties to many nations in Europe. The United States will extend the cash and carry policy to military goods to help the Allied nations. Because many of these Allied nations end up going into debt due to war costs, the United States establishes a policy called Lend-Lease. This means that the United States will lend weapons on a promise that Great Britain will either return them or pay the United States back after the war. The United States and Great Britain will meet on a coastline ship in August of 1941. Churchill and FDR meet and proclaim that they will fight the Axis powers to ensure life, liberty, independence, and religious freedom. This is going to serve as the foundation for the UN later on in life. Now that you have the notes for neutrality, what I would like you to do is go to our class page and go to the resources option. On there, you will find the American Neutrality assignment. The first document you need to look at looks like this. This is your assignment that you need to work on. Please go to that website and click Enter Europe to begin the simulation. You'll also notice that there is this worksheet here for you to complete. Although it is a PDF document, you may type your answers in a Word document. Please make sure you follow all directions. In addition to talking about whatever event happens in Europe, you do need a short summary in your own words of the event. So for example, Hitler rejects the Treaty of Versailles is the option I've given you. Please make sure you fill in what that means. The website will look like this when you enter it. Remember, you are going to enter the Europe side of the sidelines. As you travel through the timeline, you will have to select a course of action once you've read the paragraph. You will see that there are going to be different options here. If you get it correct, it will tell you that and give you a summary on the bottom. Once you've done that, you will advance to the next event and continue through until you're finished. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know.